Stories of hope where hearts connect. Side effects may include joy, advocacy, and inclusion too. You're listening to The Inclusion Effect, sharing love, strength, and respect. Side effects may include joy, advocacy, and inclusion for me and you.
Hello and welcome to The Inclusion Effect. I'm Anna and I'm here to talk with guests and with you all about disability advocacy, inclusion, and the ups and downs of navigating a world that frankly isn't built for the disability community. Today's guest here with me is Gabriella. Hi, Gabriella.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for being on with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Do you want to kind of tell everybody about why you're in the disability community, how you ended up here, your family structure?
Sure. So I have a 4-year-old son who's autistic, ADHD. I want to say I kind of ended up online in the disability community because I feel like nobody really talks about this stuff like on a day-to-day basis. And there's things that need to be talked about. So
Totally
that's
agree.
kind of what brought me to like online advocacy and starting my Instagram and TikTok, the Love Without Limits page. But just day-to-day advocacy. I mean, advocacy is daily, all day, every day.
It doesn't end.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So your son has autism and ADHD? Okay, awesome. And how old was he when he got that diagnosis or those diagnoses?
It was about 1 week before his second birthday. So
Oh, you got
before
him
two.
early. Wow. Okay, that's
Yes.
awesome. You were on top of it. What was the first thing that made you think that something might be different, that you needed to look into getting the diagnoses?
So our story is a little bit different in the way that that was like nowhere on the horizon for us. At least we thought, right? My son was born with hip dysplasia. And
Oh,
he was braced. So like he had a brace around his hips and legs for over 8 months while he was an infant.
wow.
Um, and because kids learn through their environment and through play and, things like that, um, I was under the impression that, of course, he would have a developmental delay because he's been laying on his back for several months.
Right?
And really, the only thing that I guess was like quote unquote delayed was his walking at the time, because he, did kind of like check off all those checks on the checklist initially. And then, so he was already in early intervention getting like PT for that. Um, but then he stopped talking. So he had like a language regression. He
How old
never
was he
really
then?
Around 18 months. Around 18 months. So he started like babbling and talking, saying a couple words around 10 months,
Hmm.
and then completely stopped around like 18
Okay, yeah. That was young then. Wow.
months.
Because you hear about people talking about that was like a sign for them is that they went through a regression. But the fact that he had his regression in 18 months and you had a diagnosis before too, that's wild. So when you had the regression with speech, did you first kind of push for looking further into that? Was it one of his early intervention therapists? How did that process go?
It kind of just started with like me asking questions to the
Yeah.
therapist and saying like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And not just like speech, but stimming also, and like in the way he
Oh,
played. And like he had like a toy kitchen and he wouldn't really play with it. He would kind of just like drag it around like that heavy work, right? And
yes.
I was like, this looks a little different. But also he's my first, so how would I even know, right?
It's hard to compare then. Yeah, yeah.
So it started with just like asking them questions, looking online. I got lot more information online than I did like from other people, his pediatrician. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the case so often. It seems like that was the case with us too. Okay, yeah. And then who did he actually get diagnosed through? Was it a pediatrician, a developmental doctor? How did you guys go about that process?
It was a developmental pediatrician.
Okay.
So since he was already in early intervention, they helped with that process. At the time, he was doing physical therapy. After the language regression, he started speech, and then his therapist kind of said, like, I think he should see an OT.
Yeah.
And then OT recommended that we, pursue an evaluation.
Yeah. Okay. Did you feel like you had to, it seems like your story is a little bit different than a lot of people's, but did you feel like you had to fight to get taken seriously, I guess, to look into these things, or because he was already in early intervention, do you think that helped a little?
So I don't think I necessarily had to like push for it too much.
That's
The
great.
first time that I did bring it up to his pediatrician, um, mm, she kind of just said like she basically wrote it off to like what she quoted like normal toddler behavior. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and like me being a first time like worrywart parent, like that sort of thing.
I hate that.
I know, same.
uh,
But because he was already on the team, the therapists were seeing him, like we ended up getting, what we needed anyways.
okay. And how long do you think the diagnosis process took for you guys? Like, I know it was a while ago now, but once you guys started looking into autism and ADHD.
Just a couple of months by
Oh,
mistake.
that's not.
It
Oh.
was a mistake on their part. So early intervention ends at 3. He ages
Yeah.
out at 3. And whoever called me to schedule his evaluation had said, like, I'm going to schedule this day. We have to hurry up and do it before his 3rd birthday. And only his 2nd birthday was approaching. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to correct you. Like, that's fine. So I think
Oh my God, that's
because of like
funny.
that error, he got in sooner than what he should have.
That's amazing,
But
though. That works good for you
but
and for him.
yeah,
Amazing. That's actually so funny. Oh my
I
gosh,
know.
that's perfect. Yeah, I just talked to the people here where I live that do autism evaluations, and it's like for Addie, about a 12-month wait list right now. So that makes, I mean, obviously she already has a lot of resources because she has Down syndrome. But that's so funny that you got in so fast because of that.
Yeah, because of an
That,
error, which worked
that's
in our favor.
a happy accident.
Yeah.
Okay, so if another parent, specifically a parent of a toddler, then like you went through the situation with a toddler, came up to you right now and they're just starting this journey, just looking into more information because their child's behavior seems off to them and seems like there might be more to it,
Okay.
what advice would you give them?
Um, I would say do not listen to anyone. Like follow your intuition, like whatever you think like that you should be doing in that moment is probably what you should be doing or shouldn't, vice versa as well.
I love that.
Um, there is so much like input from, there's so much like noise, right? From family, from teachers, from doctors, from
Yes.
online, like from everywhere. That could be overwhelming. And I would just say, like, go with your gut. Like, parents have intuition, and most of the time we're right. You know what I mean?
100%. I preach that any chance I can. I think that's helped us in more situations than I care to express even. I think that moms, first time moms even though you didn't know, you knew something. Like I think that mom's intuition is right more often than not.
For
So
sure.
when you first got the actual diagnosis, excuse me, what emotions came up for you? How did you feel?
I was very sad. Lots of grief at first. Lots of grief. I was confused, overwhelmed, um,
Yeah.
with like this large like stack of paper report with resources and like recommendations.
I'm so sorry. One second.
Okay. Um, so yeah, lots of like, those just like grief emotions, I would say at first.
Yeah.
And I would have to say a lot of that had to do with like the language that the professionals were using on his team.
Yes.
There was lots of like red flag language, like, oh, that's a red flag, and this is, a red flag and a warning that he may have, this. And so, like, when you frame it that way to like a new parent that has no idea what to anticipate, it's scary. Um,
Yeah. A red flag has no positive connotations. Like,
Right,
that's
right.
scary. Even if you don't know what they're red flagging, that sounds scary by itself.
Yes. So lots of that language. We did have both like neurodiverse affirming and then not so much on our team. So I got like a good mix of both, to even understand that there was a difference. Though I think that a lot of those emotions, like the fear, was brought up by like the language that was being used by those professionals. Um,
Yeah.
had it been a little bit different at the time, I think I maybe wouldn't have like freaked out so much, but I did. I did initially have a lot of those emotions.
Yeah, I mean, you know this now, of course, you're seasoned, but I think grief and feeling overwhelmed are so normal, and every parent with a child with a new diagnosis sees all this negative language and is freaked out and scared. That is unfortunately a universal experience that really should be changed. Like, I'm sure you've seen either mine or somebody else's posts about when you get told your child has Down syndrome, we receive like I'm sorry, but, or like I have bad news or whatever. Just setting
Same.
it up to be negative immediately. And
Right.
that sucks. Like, we don't need to red flag our children. We don't need to apologize for them for being who they are.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm sorry you had that universal experience, but that's why we're out here advocating.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so did you feel like you were able to process those emotions, or do you feel like you like had to kind of put on a positive face, like a happy face, and hide them, or did you feel like accepted and okay to grieve and feel, confused and overwhelmed?
Um, so timing for us was a little bit crazy because we had, unfortunately, like around the same time or like a couple of months prior to getting a diagnosis, my father-in-law passed away, so my husband's father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And so lots of grief surrounding like that as well. And so
Yeah.
there was kind of like a combination of the both, where maybe some emotions were even mixed. We're like, what am I really grieving about right now? Is it this or
Yeah.
this, you know? Um, so I would say that like my grieving experience was not necessarily like I didn't really have like time to grieve about that, so to speak, because I was kind of focused on like keeping my family afloat. Um,
Yeah, I get that.
but there was like, I would say that there was like a pivotal moment of grief where, whether it have been related to his diagnosis or, my father-in-law's passing, where I was like, I was literally just, I was watching my son like run back and forth in our living room. She does all day. He was just like pacing, running back and forth the living room. And I was laying on the couch and I was just watching him. And I was like, I just looked at him and I'm like, wow, you've gotten so big. And like, where did that time go? And I almost felt like it was like an out of body experience. Like if I was laying on the couch and I was looking, like I wasn't there and I was just like watching him, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of just like said to myself, like, if you don't wake up and like get it together, like you're going to miss this. Like you're going to miss him growing up. You're going to miss the, little moments because, you're sitting on the couch and you're not being present, right? And so that kind of like was the pivotal moment for me where I just had to be like, you know what? Like you've got to like just love him and accept him exactly the way that he is. And don't like miss out on these moments because you're confused or sad or upset. Um,
Yeah.
because everybody's time is limited. Like we don't have infinite time, right? So
Yeah.
that was kind of the moment where I was just like, we've got to turn this around and just embrace it.
I love that. That really resonated with me. It's not often I talk a lot, and it's not often that somebody says something that like isn't something that I've either been told or thought or said, and how you just said that was brand new to me, and actually like gave me goosebumps a little bit. I loved that so much. That's very accurate and relatable. Yeah, like you can be sad, but your kid's gonna keep growing, and are you gonna be sad or happy and there to enjoy it with them?
Right.
That's
And
great.
like
I love
how
that.
many of those moments and like, milestones, obviously we measure those differently, but
Yeah.
how many of those are we gonna like miss out on because of grief,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Well, if you could talk to yourself on the day of the diagnosis, that week, whatever, when you're just in the thick of it, what words of either comfort or perspective, advice would you go back and give yourself?
Oh gosh. Um, I would first tell myself that everything is going to be okay. It gets better. And then I would also tell myself that like the recommendations that you're given are just that. They are just recommendations. You take what you want to take from those recommendations and you leave what doesn't work for your family out of those recommendations. And quite frankly, just because I know people are probably not going to like this, but just because it comes from a doctor or a therapist, even, like, it doesn't mean that it has to, like, you have to do it, right?
Yeah.
Or even on that timeline. I mean, some
Yeah.
people want to do therapy and they're all in. Some people are, I don't want to do it right now. I want to try something else, and that's okay. Follow yours and your kids' timeline and just take what you want and leave from those recommendations. That would be like the biggest advice.
Amazing advice. I actually don't think like obviously Addie has Down syndrome. That's obvious when they're born. Like your kid has Down syndrome. It's not like autism. So
Hmm.
I think that it took me until Addie was like 2 years old to learn that. Like 2 full years of her being herself before I was like, oh, I don't have to do 87 therapy appointments just because that's what every other Down syndrome mom is doing, and that's what her doctor says. So that is a big one. And actually, I want to like emphasize that if like any new parents of like recently diagnosed children of anything are listening,
Yeah.
like you can do what fits your family. That's huge. Yes.
Yes. A
Great
thousand
advice.
percent.
It gets overwhelming. So yeah.
It does. And I also like, I'm a huge advocate for, I'm so glad I had an OT on my team that was like,
Hmm.
no, if your baby's napping, cancel. And if you're
Oh,
sick, if
I
they're
love that.
sick, if he's dysregulated, like she always was just like, cancel. Like you don't, one session is not going to make or break anything.
No.
And so I always tell people like and as caregivers, we need to be regulated. We can't be spread so thin and then be like the best caregivers ever. So if we're running our kids around to 37 appointments a week, like we're burnt out. And then as a result, like we're not caregiving, I guess, to the best of our ability. So that's another thing too. Like it gets exhausting. It's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely it does. When you first decided to share openly about your son's diagnosis, and I don't know exactly when that was in your journey, what kind of judgment, feedback, misunderstandings were you met with from anybody, either friends, family, strangers, whatever?
So initially, my husband and I decided to only tell like immediate family, so like
Mm-hmm.
parents and brothers and sisters, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I literally sent out a group text. And I don't think that in like being like as emotional as I was back then, like in the thick of just getting the diagnosis, that I was prepared for any feedback. And I quite literally said that. Like I just messaged them and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. Jay's autistic, and I do not want anybody's opinion on that. I do not want to hear whether or not you agree with the diagnosis. Um, Basically a list of things that I did not want. And then just said at the end, like, all we're looking for right now is your support, and love. And we obviously, we're family. We hope and expect you to love him just as he is. And that was kind of it. We just like, I sent out that text and that was it. And everybody was just like, yeah, no, like, I mean, he's great. We love him. Like,
Good. Oh.
um, so yeah, that was really all. I mean, I think after that initial, text message, there was lots of like conversations,
Mm-hmm.
with family and friends alike where, people would doubt like the diagnosis or like, I don't know, I don't think maybe ADHD,
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't think he's autistic or just, and I don't think any of it was said with like ill intent.
Yeah.
Um, but just, making little comments about like whether or not they believed what they think I should do, like the input, all of those things. And I kind of just brushed it off.
Good for you. Good boundary setting. I will say, I actually, when we found out Addie had Down syndrome when I was like 11, 12 weeks pregnant, um, I also sent out a group chat. I've never met anybody else that did that. I also sent it out to everybody. I said Addie has Down syndrome, and we also found out she was a girl at the same time. So I said she's a girl. She has Down syndrome. Uh, I don't want to hear any extended family saying the R word. Make sure everybody knows. Like I like said all these specific things while my husband and I were sitting there like processing the news. Like, and
Yeah,
that's really funny that you did that too. I don't know that I've met anybody else that did that. It was the way that I could set like a boundary. I wasn't ready to have a face to face. I would have cried. I know it. I wasn't
same,
ready to deal with that,
same.
And it sounds like it was similar for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to
Yeah.
hear anything from anyone, really.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I still am not ready sometimes. I'm like, I still don't want to hear it.
Right. What is some of the craziest unsolicited advice you've gotten from anybody about your child? Or just comments, not even advice?
It's always like older people, I swear.
Always. Always. Don't come for me,
Um,
but yes.
there was this older lady like at a McDonald's or whatever, and I was just running in to take Jay to like the bathroom, and the women's restroom was like shut off because they were cleaning it. So I
Mhm.
tell my husband, I'm like, you got to take him in the men's restroom. I don't know if they have a changing room in there, but like you've got to change him. And she just takes this opportunity to give me like all this toileting advice and like, by that age, like he really should already be toilet trained and, telling me what she did with her kids. And I was just looking at her like, lady, stop. Like, I don't know you. My kids' bowel habits are like none of your concern.
No, right? Oh my gosh, the
So
audacity.
that was really weird. I've gotten a couple of people offer like cures,
Yeah.
detoxes, smoothie detoxes, like those
Yeah.
that that stuff. Um
Have to
yeah.
say, hate that. Yeah.
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 It's always it's always the people closest to you.
Yeah. 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 Oh, crazy. And when you do get kind of unsolicited advice or comments or whatever, how do you handle that? Or even just like stares? Because I know something that happens a lot with Addie, especially as she gets
Stairs.
older, is like people staring in the grocery store, the pharmacy, whatever. Like, especially if she's being loud and stimming.
Try. It depends on the situation, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a very difficult situation because we're going to be emotional about it. Like there are kids, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
but then sometimes I have to take a step back and like think like, okay, like if another kid didn't like that Jay like touched his body, like I could understand that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, emotionally, I'm like, how dare you? Like my kid can't talk. Like he's not pushing you like out of malice. He just can't talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they don't know that. Like with other
Yeah.
children, I think that give like tons of like grace. I hope that their parents are there to like step in and kind of like use it as a teaching moment. But if they're not, I do. Um,
Good.
I, try to explain to them like, oh, like, everybody communicates differently. Like this is Julian. Julian does not communicate with his mouth, and we've got his talker, and I'm just like, this is how he communicates. He really wasn't trying to push you. He just, doesn't know how to say excuse me. Or, we're practicing our waiting right now and like taking turns. Like we're still practicing, like we're still learning those sorts of things. So with
Yeah.
children, sort of that's been my experience. And adults are usually the most unpleasant experience.
They
Um,
really are.
they are the ones that like stare the most, make the most inappropriate comments, um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. And I'm really working on trying not to be like the emotional, reactive person that I used to be. But in this situation, it's very hard. Like it's very, very difficult. So for me, it's either like really emotional and reactive or shut down, like one of the two. So I'm navigating like trying to be better about like not shutting down and just like dismissing the opportunity to advocate for my son entirely because
Yeah.
that is very much my personality to just like let it happen and not say anything and just like shy away from it, right? But I'm like, I can't do that to my kid, right? Like I can't not stick up for my kid.
Yeah.
So, difficulty navigating that sometimes depending on the situation, but I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting more confident with like using my words and like not being so reactive and emotional about it.
Something I still need to work on, so I feel you. Yeah, I definitely get emotional and upset and angry pretty easily with it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, at your big age of whatever, 50 years old, you shouldn't be like snickering or pointing at my child. Like, ugh, yeah, or like acting annoyed. I hate when I get like an eye roll or something. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Ugh. Again, not if it's from a child. Different. I love to
Yeah.
educate. I also have the nonverbal issue with Addie where like if she's using her hands, usually it's to communicate something, but kids don't know that, you know?
Right.
So I get that. Yeah. And how's Julian doing now? Where's he at? Like what's going on in his little life?
Everything. No, I'm just kidding.
He's a busy 4-year-old.
He is he's in preschool half day.
Oh.
He is in a like what they say like a self-contained special
Mhm.
education classroom. Um, but they do take him out of his classroom to go into like a general education classroom for a part of his day. So it's a very short day. It's like 2.5 hours. So half of his day is
Yeah.
like in his classroom and then half in the other classroom.
Okay.
He also does like outpatient speech and outpatient OT once a week.
Mhm.
And otherwise, he's just hanging out with me at home or dad, and we're ripping and running the parks, the museums, those sorts of things. He's a very
He's living his best
active
life.
boy. Yeah, he's very, very active. So we try to get it out because if not, he's jumping on me.
Yes, I also have a 4-year-old son, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question for you, Gabriella. What is, and this is kind of a big question, you can take your time, it's okay. What is the most important thing you've learned from this journey? I know.
The most important thing that I would say I've learned throughout this journey is that our kids belong in places, just as anyone else does. And I know that other people are, for some reason, uncomfortable with our kids in spaces literally just existing
Mm-hmm.
because they're, either vocally stimming or physically stimming, or maybe not eating with a utensil at a restaurant, because they're eating with their hands and it may look differently. Um, I feel like neurotypical society kind of just wants us to shy away and just like stay home for their comfort, for like sake of their comfort.
I agree.
Um, and I will never. We're going outside. My kid is having all the experiences and we're accommodating him. And you can stare all you want, but like we're gonna have a time here, buddy. So that
He's
is
gonna take up his
really,
space and do his thing.
yeah, because I think
Yeah.
at some point, like in the very beginning of my, our journey, I would like apologize and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," or like if he bumped somebody or
Yeah.
if he did something that was like I guess considered inappropriate. But now I'm just like unapologetically like we're gonna be here,
Yeah.
and like we should.
Hell yeah. I love that.
I
Awesome.
I hate all the judgment with our kids being out in public, and like we said before, it's mainly adults where they'll look at our kids and be like, "Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, like what are they doing?" Like, mind your business. Like go watch your kid. Like
Right?
what are you
Worry about your
doing?
family. We got ours.
Yeah. Um, so that would be like my biggest like thing. It's just like don't shy away because some people are jerks and just like let your kid have those experiences. Is it hard sometimes? Yeah, I get that.
It is. It is.
It's hard.
Yeah. It's
Um,
uncomfortable. It's a learning process.
yeah. And we're
Mm-hmm.
not those moms that can sit on the bench in the park and just like let our kids play. We're not those.
No.
We've got to
No.
be on top of them, like with them 24/7. Because if not, they can get hurt or or run away or, one of those things. So
Yep.
it's a very different experience, and it's not easy for anyone. It's not easy for the parent, it's not easy for the kid. But like we deserve to be there, at restaurants, in movie theaters, in places. We deserve to be there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, I've loved talking with you. You have so much great insight. Do you want to go ahead and promote your social media really fast or anything else that you want to talk about?
Um, no, I think I did it on the beginning, like the
I
very,
think you
very
did too. I
beginning
don't
when I
remember.
introduced. Yeah, yeah.
I think you did.
I did. But no, it was such a
Awesome.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having
I
me
know.
again.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking with me. For everybody listening, if you've made it this far, please follow, leave me 5 stars, share this with a friend or two. And also, if you use social media, which I'm sure you do, follow my TikToks at The Inclusion Effect and at Up Life of Addie. I do also have an Instagram at The Inclusion Effect that I really am bad at posting on, but I'm trying to get better. Thank you so much to everyone for helping build this community of amazing advocates. Thanks.
Thank you.